Hey neighbor, today we're talking about okra, the caviar of the South. Welcome to the Row by Row Gardening Show, the best dadgum gardening show on the internet, where we talk about gardening, a little bit of cooking, and growing your own food. Now sit back and enjoy. Well, I'll tell you what, we love our okra, but it has been the year of the onion. Oh man, look at there. I got a video coming out Sunday night talking about these onions. I don't know that we've ever had, and I want to say I'm that good of an onion grower, but look at yours.
I know, I'm not a good onion grower. Let's see who's just the biggest. Who do you think is the biggest?
I say it's mine. By just a little bit. Yeah, come on now, you got to give me that one. It's just not by much. And to be, in all fairness, I'm not sure that's the biggest one there, but that's one of my bigger ones.
Come on.
I did go through there and pick one of the
I'm
biggest
sure
ones.
he is.
And you did too.
Yeah.
So
So talk about when they're hard. I know you got a video coming out.
okay, ideally with 30 to 50% of your tops lay over, the next break over, it's time to get them up. That being said, the last thing you want is a storm or a rain, bunch of rain to come in. If you notice that coming, get them ahead of time. Ideally, perfect scenario, you want 30 to 50% of these tops over, pull them up, lay them on top of the ground for a few days. Do not let them get any rain on them. And then let the sun cure them out. Then I like to cut them off right here. Carry them and put them in the barn.
You got a new storage area.
I showed that.
Oh, you did?
I did on my video. Anyway, look here, folks. I know y'all get tired of hearing me. This by door variety of onions right here is the easiest onion for anybody to grow big onions, hands down.
You know, the plants I planted, somehow they got sent back here, so they were in shipping for like a week and a half.
They look terrible.
They look terrible. And the reason I planted them was to show people how resilient they are.
Yep.
I mean, they looked like they were just, should have been thrown in the trash.
If you bought onions from us and you treated them the way you should, you fertilized them and watered them the way you should, and you didn't grow onions like this right here, it's not the plant's fault. You need to reevaluate. And I don't tell people this to try to be ugly or hurt their feelings. I want them to be successful. You need to reevaluate what you're doing, because this onion right here is easy to grow to that size there. So, all right, we're talking about okra. We got off on onions. Onions and okra, the two O's. You know, okra is to us, we've eaten it all our life.
Yeah.
It's a southern staple, and we think everybody should be growing it. It's not the easiest thing to grow, and our northern friends don't have a clue what we're talking about, but you should try it if you've never tried it before. I remember eating okra ever since I was, as far as I can remember. Now, my mother boiled okra. You don't boil okra, you'll stew it sometimes.
Yeah, the only time I boil it is like in soups.
I never enjoyed boiled okra, but my brother, I got a brother 4 years older than me, he loved it. So I guess she did it for him, because he was always the one that...
Yeah, I think my mother boiled a lot of okra.
We don't boil okra, we stew it, which is good. It's not near slimy as boiled okra is.
Last year, I freeze-dried some.
Pop.
I can't do it.
How about letting me do this right here? There we go. So it's just freeze dried.
Yeah, and I've...
Tastes just like fried okra to me.
Well, this is not cooked.
I know, but it tastes like fried okra. Doesn't it?
That would be a good snack, wouldn't
Just
it?
eat it like that.
We need to eat this.
So the way we eat, our preferred method, and I'm gonna tell you this,
Wow.
I was raised on fried okra. She was raised on fried okra. We never did stew okra till me and her got married, and she likes to stew it. I like it that way. But we grill it, we put it in the oven and roast it. It's delicious.
Oh, yeah. I've cooked it in the microwave.
Yep.
I know people don't like microwaves, but I've cooked it in the microwave. And we put a lot, we'll just fix like a conglomeration of squash and onions and okra and just boil it.
We call them boats. So we take some tinfoil and line a pan, and we just throw whatever we got in the garden in there with some bacon or some kind of meat covered up, put it in there for 30, 45 minutes, forget about it, and come back and eat. That is good.
Oh, it tastes
I
like...
told you it's just like fried okra. How about that?
It's not even cooked.
I know. All right, so we're going to talk about growing okra. If you've never grown okra before, we're going to give you the lowdown on that.
Where's okra originally from?
I'm going to say Africa. Most of our vegetables originated in Africa. That was just an educated guess is all that was.
Does well in hotter growing zones.
It loves the hot weather, dry, hot weather. I say dry, on the drier side. Loves that. So
Put that up for us.
you treat it different than you do most of your other vegetables because it is different. It likes different growing conditions.
So the mallow family.
Yep. Every year, I preach to y'all, don't plant your okra too early. And I do it every year. I preach to y'all not to do
You
it,
did
and
it.
I did it again this year. I got okra in the garden right now that was planted 2 weeks ago, and it is stunning. It's just, it ain't much bigger than this right here that I got planted. I know better, but I do it every year. I try to get a jump on that okra so I can have bragging rights who's got the first okra. But you're just wasting your time,
So
folks.
this was your backup?
This is my backup right here.
You're going to have to use it.
I'm gonna have to use it, but wait till April or May to plant your okra. Don't do it in
Or do
February or March like I
transplants.
do, huh?
Or do transplants.
Yeah, but even transplants is going to be stunning. It's just I transplanted my garden and they just sit there. They're not growing any because it's just been too cool. These 40-degree nights we've been
Yeah.
having is just not letting okra grow. I will plant this next to it, and I guarantee you I'll make okra just as soon as off that as I did planted a month ago.
What kind is that?
That's red burgundy right there. Now I transplant my first go around because of what we just mentioned, the cool weather. It does help me get a jump, although I jump too quick. Direct seed after it warms up and you'll be fine. It pops up real quick. It's easy to grow. It's easy to germinate and easy to grow. It does have some things you kind of got to watch out for, but it's easy to germinate. If you get the heat to it, it doesn't like. Don't expect to germinate in a 60-degree cooling pad. You need warm. You need 85 degrees to germinate it. But it comes up quick.
So,
I've heard people soaking the seeds. I have never soaked okra seed. And this okra seed right here popped out in 3 days.
I think I did an experiment 2 years ago where I soaked some and didn't soak some, and I didn't.
Didn't see any difference.
Yeah.
And these all kind of wise tales about beating your okra and all kind. I've never done any of that.
So the first step is choose the right variety
Yeah, and there's several different varieties. And we're
for
gonna-
your climate.
And we're gonna go over today some of these varieties here. All right, number one is Cowhorn Okra.
It's for hot and humid regions. Thrives in the heat.
Yeah, most of them are, but let me get on my soapbox about Cowhorn. Cowhorn's not my favorite. Cowhorn's that long old okra that you guys out in Louisiana love. Maybe in Texas too. We don't like our okra in the eastern United States like y'all do. We like our okra on the short side. But if you like that old long okra they use in a lot of gumbos,
And you don't have to pick it as often.
you don't, and if it gets long, it's okay. Cowhorn's the one for you to grow. I've grown cowhorn maybe twice in my life. It's just not my thing. But it is an old heirloom variety. It's got a lot of name recognition. You're going to see a lot of people in certain regions of the United States love cowhorn because that's all they've ever grown. Not my favorite. This was one right here we added a few years ago. This is a unique one because it's a red Jing orange right here.
It has a milder flavor.
And it is that reddish orange variety right here. It's got, a lot of people love this one right here. I preferably prefer red burgundy just a little bit more.
One of the things I read about this is it has less slime. You know, a lot of people get hung up on the slime.
The slime, yeah. So Jing orange is a good one. I think Jing orange probably makes a little bit smaller plant than some of the rest of them. It's just my thoughts. Green velvet, it's not one I got much experience with, but this is one of those slicker.
Is that the emerald? Yeah, green.
Yeah, emerald green velvet. It's one of those slicker type okras. It gets, you don't have to cut it this small. You can get a little length on it. Go ahead.
It's a really good variety for frying or grilling.
Yep, and it's probably is it spineless? Let's say it's spineless. It's pretty smooth. The picture's pretty smooth here. It's got a little different texture on the outside than the okras we're used to. Not one of the most popular ones, but a lot of people love emerald green velvet okra. We sell a lot of it. Not one of my top picks.
One of the new ways we cooked it last year was just throwing it on the grill. Do you remember that?
Yep, I love that. Just let it char a little bit. Put it in some olive. We get caught up on cooking
I
again.
know.
Put it in some olive oil and put some sea salt on it. Boom.
Just throw it on the grill.
Green fingers. Now we need to talk about green fingers a little bit. Now green fingers is a variety we added probably 4 years ago.
It's great for limited space and container garden. I
Yep.
grew it in a grow bag, and it did awesome.
I think if you've never grown okra before, I think this is a good starter right here. It doesn't get tall on you at all like some of the rest of them will.
It's, yeah, compact.
Grows wonderful on raised beds. I normally don't recommend okra on raised beds, but this one right here fits the bill for that right there. And it's a good eating okra too. Now, I couldn't tell any difference about the pod than I could some of the rest of them. Could you? Didn't have any unique feature. The unique feature about this is it just don't get very big.
It don't get tall
Doesn't get tall.
or bushy.
So it works wonderful in container. And if you put it in a container, and our friends that live up north, you could pull it inside if you needed to protect it from cold weather. Just a thought.
I might plant some of that in that where I've got the Super Big Facility.
I almost planted me some of that this year, and I don't know why, but I did. I love this variety right here. All right, now here's one of my choice ones right here, folks. This is what I got growing right here. Red burgundy. See the red stem on there? That is a characteristic of the red burgundy, and plus the okra is red.
But now when you cook it, it's
It turns green, but what I love about red burgundy is consistent size about 3 inches. It doesn't get tough at about 3 inches, and if you're gonna pickle a variety, I think this is the one right here. I tell people that all the time. Because it fits inside the jar good. It makes a good frying variety. It's not known for its frying variety, for frying type okra, but it works well for that. This is the one I've got plenty this year.
I was seeing if I had some pickled okra out here. I think we ate it all.
We probably did. We love pickled okra. So red burgundy is what I got planted this year. I may switch up and plant another kind later on, but that is a good one. All right, folks, we're gonna have to go with the all-time favorite. We sell more Jambalaya okra than any other seed dealer in the United States. Jambalaya okra is one that we move a lot of in for good reason. Jambalaya is a hybrid, okay? And it doesn't get as tall as some of the rest of it. It gets taller than our green fingers does. This is your commercial variety right here. It has a dark greener pod, and it makes a small pod. It's highly productive. Downside of it is it will get woody if it gets very long. A lot of home gardeners don't like it for that reason. If you're not going to cut okra, don't plant jambalaya.
Yeah, if you don't want to cut it every day.
Don't plant it because it's going to make like crazy. If you want to have productive okra, this is the one right here. But it doesn't get long like Cowhorn, so you're not going to be able to get that long okra because it's going to be tough. But us in the eastern part of the United States, we love that short one right there.
So what's the Jambalaya 2?
Jambalaya 2, and we've had a lot of questions, is no different from Jambalaya.
Why did they rename it?
It was a legal thing they had to do. I asked the breeder that exact same question. They said it's just something legally they had to do. I don't know why. They couldn't really explain it to me. I honestly bet the price is a little higher. They discontinued Jambalaya and they got Jambalaya 2 out now. I think it's the price thing. They just charge more for it. It's my thoughts. But the average person can't tell the difference. And the old standby, the most popular one of all of them, is Clemson Spineless. Now this is the go-to for 99% of people that grow okra.
Early maturity.
Yep. It's a good one. Yeah,
It's good for cooler climates.
I didn't know there was one variety of okra for the first 30 years of my gardening life. So what we ever grow. If you go to the big box store or your feed and seed store, this is one you're going to get right here. Nothing wrong with it. Some of these other okras fit better for particular areas you're going to plant in your garden or if you want to produce more okra. But a good standard okra right here is Clemson Spineless. It won the All-American selections one year. It's a good one. You missed one. And I think we still carry it.
What?
Star of David. Do we still carry that?
I think so.
All right, folks. I wish you'd got the Star of David because I need to talk about it in a minute. It's an old heirloom variety. Let's throw a seed pack up right here. Take a look at it. It gets small, but it's fat. It is the ideal frying okra.
Oh, yes.
It's not much good for anything but
Yeah.
frying.
It's pretty.
It
Yeah.
is pretty. But it's real short and it's real fat. I hadn't grown it in a long time, but I love that Star of David okra there. It's an heirloom. So if you want to try something a little bit different, try that Star of David if you like fried okra. It's not going to make pickled okra for you. And it's possibly not going to be a good gumbo okra because you don't get that much out of a pod here. But it is ideal for frying.
So people what makes you itch? Is it the pods or the bush?
Can be both. The leaves have those little spines on them. so that can be both.
So the Clemson Spineless doesn't have that?
Not as
leaves?
bad, but it will make you. Some people break out worse than others. Me, it didn't bother me. Now, if I had to go out there and I got to harvest 10 acres of okra, yeah, I'm gonna put me a long sleeve shirt on, an old one that I can just put on. But for me, when I go to garden, I don't wear any gloves and I don't put any sleeves on because it just doesn't bother me a whole lot. I get out there and get at it. Get done. I ain't gonna hang around in the okra field for a long period of time. But my poor old mama, it broke her out. And she loved her okra, she loved to cut okra, but she'd come over here.
Her skin was sensitive anyway.
And she would have a long sleeve shirt on in the summertime, and she would have those old dishwashing, those old yellow dishwasher vinyl gloves on. She'd have those on and a big old hat. Now she'd get at it, but she had to get dressed up to get at it.
She'd get at it early.
She'd get at it early, but she couldn't stand it. It sure so. She had to get all geared up for it. And she come early in the morning and got hers. I cut my okra late in the afternoon. Last thing I do in the afternoon is go out there and cut the okra.
And she fried hers. She could fry the best.
The best. Now, I will say this right here. You're right there with her. I'm not going to put you above Mama on my fried okra. But now, you paid a lot of attention to her.
Yeah.
And she tried her best to teach us how to do it. And your fried okra is as close to Mama's
hers?
as anybody I've eaten. But
Every Sunday.
Fried that okra.
We had fried okra during the okra season.
And she knows I love it so well. She would fry okra, take it out of the frying pan, and bring it over to my house and leave it in there. And she would call me, or she'd catch me out in the garden, or she'd say, I got some okra down the house. Go on down there and eat it now, because you know it ain't no good once it gets cold. You need to eat it once warm. But she would fry it to me, bring me a pan full over here, and tell me, go down there and eat that okra. I got some for you.
And you would eat it and not tell me.
I would. Well, she brought it for me. She didn't say everybody's got okra now. She just said, yeah, I brought you some okra.
Yeah.
She'd do salmon patties the same way, but I miss my mama.
Yeah.
All right, so don't be scared if it breaks you out. You can put some long sleeves on and some gloves on, get out there and get at it.
Okay, what's the right spot to grow okra?
A bright, sunny spot with good high soils, not low soils that stand in water. You want well-drained soils that's in bright sunshine. You don't want any shade because it don't like no shade.
You got plenty of room.
Plenty of room. I would plant mine on a minimum of 4 foot apart because you need room to get down there in the middle of it. Now 4 foot's okay.
And most of it's going to get about 6 foot high.
I wouldn't go in between, unless it's your green fingers or your jambalaya. Those two are going to get shorter, but most of your others are going to get pretty tall. Root knot nematodes is a huge pest for your okra. If you've ever planted okra and you had a few plants, after they started dying in there, I'll guarantee you go pull them up and you got root knot.
And you can't tell unless you pull it up.
Pull it up. I can tell because I can look at it and tell I got a problem, but it'll just start killing your plants out. They'll start not producing, they'll start stressing out. It's just not good. So make sure you don't plant okra at the same place back to back.
So how far apart do you plant it?
4 foot. You talking about in a row or
both?
All right, this is me. I plant about 4 foot in between my rows. Now I put drip on mine. I plant them every foot apart. 1 foot spacing in row to me is perfect. And then I plant my rows 4 foot apart.
Plant it on every emitter?
Every emitter on my drip tape. Yep. And you'll notice, even though okra will survive in a drought, if you don't water, it's just not as productive. It's not like a lot of other plants that's going to die. It's just going to sit there and wait on that moisture to come.
Maybe a little tough.
So if you do have irrigation on there, it makes it more productive. That's the reason I do it, because it does get hot and dry during the middle of the summertime.
How much water does it need?
1 inch per week. If you really want to pump out some volume, make it produce more, you can probably do it twice a week.
And fertilizer?
Standard fertilizer, nothing fancy, just your standard NPK, like a 10-10-10, 20-20-20. Maybe hit it with a little chilean nitrate or calcium nitrate along, but nothing. It's not a heavy nitrogen feeder, but it does take a little bit. Not as much as...
When would you start fertilizing it?
As soon as they came up, if I direct seed them, or when I transplant these right here, when they started getting rooted in a little bit, I'd start fertilizing them. Actually, I'm gonna put a starter fertilizer down and incorporate in the soil when I plant these.
And how often?
I'll do it every 2 weeks, lightly. Hit them every 2 weeks.
Can you fertilize them too much?
Yes, you can. You can burn anything. So yeah, you
Well,
can.
I mean, would you have more leaves than actual pods of okra?
Possibly if you hit them with too much nitrogen. With a well-balanced fertilizer, not. If you give it too much nitrogen, I can see having more plant growth and not as much fruit. So that's the reason I wouldn't go crazy with the nitrogen on them.
What about pest?
The biggest, well, these two things, aphids, and if you see ants on your okra, it's because you got an aphid problem. Underneath your leaf right there is going to be some aphids. Take care of that aphid problem, and your ant problem's going to go away. But the biggest problem with okra is stink bugs.
Yeah.
If you ever notice when you harvest, there's little bumps on the okra, that is from stink bugs biting that okra.
It's like warts.
It looks like old warts on there. It's not going to hurt anything, but if you want to control that, you're probably going to have to spray for some stink bugs. And there's not much organic control for that. You're probably going to have to hit them with some
Bug buster too?
well, Bug Buster 2, and we're discontinuing that, some Take-All. We've got a new one called Take-All that's coming out that's going to replace that. A synthetic type insecticide. Those are the two biggest things you have to worry about is stink bugs and aphids. And the aphids are easier to control. Those stink bugs will cause some issues there.
Harvesting.
Yeah, do it every other day. That's a good way to do it. It's just every other day. If you got a lot of okra, do it every day. Harvest half of it one day. The next day, the other half, and just get on schedule. If you got a small patch like me, I just do it every other day.
I should have brought one of those
Ring knives.
ring knives.
Yep.
I like to
Pop it.
pop it.
If you got plenty of, and that's another reason you want to use drip tape. If you got plenty of moisture in your plant, you can just pop it off. If that plant gets drought stressed, it won't pop.
Or
As
too,
being-
if it is too overripe or too big, it won't pop.
It'll get rubbery. It won't pop. Yep. So there you have it, folks. Everybody should be growing a small patch. I don't have 30 feet of okra this year on my first planting. That's enough for us.
Oh, yeah.
Once it starts producing, that's enough for us, for the two of us. Now, if you got a large family, or if you want to put up a lot, probably want to grow a little bit more than that. The good thing about okra, unlike tomatoes, is you can grow okra all summer long, all the way to frost, because it loves the heat. So you can keep okra growing all summer. The heat's not going to hurt it like it is your tomatoes and your other.
What about topping it? I've seen where people go
I
in.
don't do that.
What's the benefit?
Try to keep the plant down where they can get to it, and it'll sucker out just a little bit more. I don't do that. I think a good strategy is to have you another plant coming along every 3 or 4 weeks, so you got a fresh crop coming along. That way it helps you counterbalance that.
What about stripping the bottom leaves once you
I
harvest
don't
it?
do that, or whoop it and all that kind
Whoop
of crap.
it.
I don't do any of
You
that.
don't whoop it?
I don't whoop it. Old timers talk about go down there and whoop it. I don't do any of that. I don't do any unnecessary work.
I guess if you were stressed.
You stress, you need something to hit, you can go out there and whoop your okra, but I don't think it does any good.
You may see me out there.
She's there whooping that okra again.
Okay, well, I think that's about it.
Yep. One thing I got, we talked about root knot nematodes, the ideal thing to plant your okra is corn. If you had to pick one crop to follow, it'd be corn. So you don't want to follow tomatoes and peppers, you'd be better off to follow corn. Or some of the greens may be okay, but you wouldn't want to follow. Mustard greens would be fine to follow or something like that, but corn's going to be your best rotational type thing.
Yeah, rotate.
Plant you some okra if you've never planted okra before. Hey, if you don't like it, give it to your neighbors. But if you fry it, or you grill it, or roast it,
Freeze dry it?
freeze dry it, you're going to like it. All right, so we got garden spotlight of the week.
My hands smell like lemons. Okay, this is
All right, we're going to show this first. This is what Ollie planted.
Justin Martin, Zone AB, Eastern North Carolina. Says his tomato plants are looking good. I can't say enough about my seed starting success with Grow Okra seeds.
And look at the varieties he planted. He picked out 5 good ones right there. Red Snapper, I'm trying to read them through this right here. Better Boy, Halcinator, Purple Boy, which is a darn good one. And then he's got Super Sweet 100 down there. Man, good choices, dude.
Good choices.
All right, look at his plants. So don't they look good? They need to be put in the ground, but they look good.
He says he's got to repot them in the next day or two.
Yep, they need to be something. Put in the ground a repotted one. Yep, good job. They do look good. Getting a little bit root bound, but he knows that. They just need to be, they need to be stepped up or stepped out. All right, and they got the old goat. The old goat's on the show here somewhere. He's stepping around. If you find the old goat, put in the comments where he's at. Next week we'll do the drawing for this week's winner. But last week's winner for the Old Goat siding is Kimberly Edgman 8879. Say that again. Kimberly Edgman 8879. Send us your shipping information to
support@growhouse.com.
boom, Kimberly. Look at there what you gonna get. I hadn't wore mine the last couple of days. I got me a pair laid out down there. I got to wear them tomorrow. I don't have but 2 pair. Why don't I should have more than that? You can't buy those in the store. The only way you can get them is you win them on a row by row.
What else you got going on in the garden?
Oh, we in full swing, baby. I got, man, watermelons. Weeds are starting to get me. I'm spending my afternoons weeding and planting and weeding and planting. I planted my sweet potato plant bed yesterday afternoon.
I saw that.
I got greenhouse is getting thin. We got a lot going on in the greenhouse because we got it out in the garden. I got my watermelons planted. Tomatoes is hopping. I put my T-post up this week. Super beef lassie is coming up. I got a couple more things to plant, but
I got cantaloupes as soon as my onions fall over.
yep, it's that time. Knee deep in gardening. I spend every afternoon till dark out there, and it's just good to me.
Yeah, we
Yep.
both do.
We can come in. We what's called garden tired, and I ache a little during the night. I can tell it. I wake up in the middle of the night. Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
It's a good
folks.
ache.
Thank y'all for joining us. We hope you.
Any housekeeping?
Oh.
Tomatoes?
We about sold out. We got some pepper plugs. But we may have some tomato plugs there. The last
the
ship
end.
date, the last paper. We about sold out everything. We do have some peppers.
Asparagus?
Asparagus, we sold out for April. We got May coming in asparagus. If you want asparagus, we got one more shipment coming in
Yeah,
the
so
middle
when
of
you
May.
go to the website, just pick the May dates.
The May date, we still got inventory for that. We're sold out for April. You want to make sure you get those because that's it for the year. We got turmeric. We still buy you turmeric. And look here, really and truly, you don't even need to plant your turmeric till May or June. So we got plenty of
I
time to
did
get
plant
turmeric.
mine.
That's all I can think of. Sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes start shipping Monday. For the southern states, start shipping Monday. So sweet potatoes will be shipping next few weeks. We're working on, this is something I need to talk about. We're working on switching carriers. We've had so much issues, y'all, with USPS. We're working on some better options for y'all. Bear with us. It's been a pain trying to ship USPS. We're trying to do better with another carrier, but we're having to work through some issues. Maybe we'll have it in a few days figured out. We are aware of it and we're doing our best, but we're just limited what we can do right here in the middle of the
Our
busy
hands
season.
are tied.
Hands are tied. So thank y'all for understanding. If you have any problems with USPS, especially on live plants, and something happens, don't hesitate. Let the customer service know, and we'll reship out to you. All right, that's all we can do. Thank y'all for joining us. I hope y'all are enjoying the garden as much as we are. We just love it this time of the year. And you need to get outside and get your hands dirty too.